drive up to Newcastle University a handful of times a week. So I drive from my partner's place in Olympic Park. If you take away the kind of the trip, through the city and that, but like once you're on the Pacific Highway, it's 2 hour drive, hour 40-minute drive. And since I've been driving up there, I've been having a few thoughts about, like Dean, the swim he did, and conscious of like how far I'm driving, going 110 k's an hour for, an hour, 40 minutes. Like it's a big journey. And for you to swim that in 31 hours is incredible, given the circumstances and everything you had to go through. You spoke briefly there about Des and Susie just before, and Des was unable to complete the swim in the 1980s, and then Susie was unable to do it in the 90s, mainly because of environmental conditions. But what made you confident you were able to achieve that swim?
The confidence comes from my squad and Vlad. So it's called a solo sport, but it's far from solo. You don't train on your own. There was a part of the training that I did not talk about that, but the squad, it's everybody in the pool in the morning, knowing and wishing you best, training with you, and even in the oceans on the Saturday they come training. Vlad thought it was a good idea to have what he called a swim camp for me, just for me, between Christmas and New Year. And the swim camp was doing 100 kilometres over that week, but focused on an 85-kilometre 4 days, and swimming in the morning and night, morning and night, morning and night. And that was hard. I call it Hell Week. But that gave me so much confidence after I finished that. Most of it was on my own. Some friends come at different stages to join in, but of course it was my responsibility. Terrible weather, rough, lightning storms. It was just a bad time in Sydney for that, but it was my job. So I just switched my mind into it, and away I went. I did, I can't remember the distances, 15 kilometres in the morning, come home, feed, rest, 10 kilometres in the afternoon, back for 15 kilometres in the morning. And you just keep on going like that. And that builds certainly strength, stamina, but confidence. And you hit the nail on the head. It's all about having the confidence to do that swim, so that your first stroke, you're not worrying, am I going to finish? You're convinced you're going to finish because you've done all the hard work. But Susie and Des are great inspirations to me. I have the very great pleasure of swimming now and training with Christian Renford, and Christian next month is going to be the third generation swimmer to do the English Channel. So that's something to look out for. And they're a great family. They're all inspirational swimmers. And Des is just a showman, isn't he? If you read anything, if you read his book, if you see any of those videos that he made, the newspaper reports, he is the ultimate showman and somebody who inspired me enormously. And I got different parallels. I feel like I knew Des a bit, but of course I didn't. Susie is an incredible athlete, the first person ever to swim from Cuba to Florida and to the US. And Fidel Castro was so impressed that he invited the whole family back to Cuba, and they spent a week or so together. That was just an incredible thing. And Susie is and remains a huge inspiration to all swimmers, I think. So if I had failed, I would have been in good company. But of course, they didn't have access to shark shields. They had to swim in shark cages. Des' story is that he just cobbled his together in his shed, welded and put wire around some old Castrol fuel drums and some mesh around the top. Incredibly, my pilot, his brother-in-law, was Des' pilot. And so I had the unique opportunity to talk to his pilot. He said Des just threw a couple of dolphin torches on the bottom of the shark shield, the shark cage, and they just rolled around at night. That must have been very disorienting. And of course, halfway down, very rough weather, it started to fall apart, and Des wasn't prepared to swim without a shark cage. And Susie, had the same fate. Just this big southerly came up and smashed her swim. So unfortunate, but they didn't have the same opportunities that I did. The shark shield technology, forecasting technologies improved a lot. And so I'm sure their commitment was just as strong or stronger than mine.